Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming today for our session of Tech Talk Tuesday. Super excited to have everyone. In this session, we're going to be talking about stress and burnouts. I'm sure everyone's been going through it in the last couple of months. Everyone's been working from home and transitioning. So we wanted to talk a little bit about that and how to avoid burnouts at work and in life. Today, we have a returning guest, Gaurav Rastogi. He is a meditation coach, among being a ninja and other things. Welcome back, Gaurav.
Hey, Anita, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you for coming
Fantastic.
today.
Happy to be here. How's the work from home working out for you? You look like you're having fun.
Oh, I am. I'm enjoying the backyard a bit. Trying the whole, meditation and chill out a little bit kind of situation.
Sure, yeah. This is an important topic for us, especially now.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone's, could relate to some extent on this.
All right. Now, I was here previously, Anita, and just so that people can distinguish between the other me that came here as the career reinvention coach and the me that's going to talk to you today as someone who teaches meditation. I took my glasses off. I can't read, but I'm sure you can see me.
Go for it. We're good.
All right. Our topic is stress and your new normal. And my tagline, I'm really proud of it. So please appreciate on the chat line. It's Zoom and Doom in the workroom. Because isn't that our workplace these days? It's all Zoom day, all day. Just come in, do your video calls all day. And then outside your window, you can watch the world come apart. There's a pandemic, there's protests, and no one knows what's happening with the jobs market. The stock market is doing fine. It's kind of weird what's going on outside. Mm-hmm. And then your workroom is also your room. And that's the situation. Stress has become a core part of the new normal for people. And so it's an important topic for us to talk about. I really want to make this interactive for the audience. I want to make sure they have the ability to put in chat, their comments on the chat, and we'll catch them at the end.
Absolutely. Yes, please do put your questions up. We will get to them at the end, and I will be asking Gaurav.
Great. I'm going to give you my meditation credentials, just so you understand. I've been teaching meditation for over a decade. I've been practicing for more than 2 decades. And now we run a really popular free set of yoga and meditation classes every day. We run 7 classes every day, including 1 meditation class in the evening. We've run 800 plus classes over the last 4 months since the pandemic started. And we've served about 28,000 people.
That's awesome. I'm sure everyone needed it.
Yeah, it is. It's very popular. We keep adding more people, so it's really exciting.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to the topic at hand. What is stress? And why should you care about stress? The first thing you need to understand is stress itself, the word is borrowed from my original undergrad, which is mechanical engineering, which is scientists, cruel scientists they were, or engineers, would put weights on little metal wires, or in this case, a rope cable, keep putting on weights, and eventually the rope's going to break. And so the pattern that they saw was, if you put weights on a metal wire, it would extend, and then it'll start flowing, and then it'll break, right? So in the 1930s, a doctor noticed that, well, this is interesting. While the physics and mechanical engineering people talk about this sort of pattern, you're able to see that in people as well, which is some amount of external stimulus is good, and then eventually it's not good, and then it's really bad. And so they borrowed the word from physics. What is stress? Stress is in the medical context, is a physical, mental, or emotional factor. It's a factor that causes bodily or mental tension. And these stresses could be external, like the environment or the news or whatever situations you're in, or internal. For example, if you have poor digestion, it can be a stressor as well. And the impact, the reason we care for it in this work-related tech talk conversation is that stress can initiate a fight or flight response. You can watch some of my other YouTube videos to get a more detailed yogi perspective on this. But what you need to know is, beneath the surface of your consciousness, the body is still functioning. You're not directing your digestion as we speak, right? So beneath the surface of your consciousness, your body is being run similar to the way your car is. There's an accelerator and a brake. And what stress is doing is it's basically putting a brake on the accelerator. And now you're just accelerating. There's no braking, there's no steering, no nothing. You're just
Going.
yeah. So it's a little like living the movie Speed, but in your person.
Mhm.
You're going to go off the cliff and into something. So that's what's going on. That's why stress is a bad thing after a point. It's good initially when you're riding up the curve, but bad very soon afterwards. That's the reason you should care. Why? Because the modern workplace, especially in this post-pandemic reality, has created a situation where raise your hand, people on the audience, if you've seen some of these symptoms. It's raised a situation where people feel chronic fatigue, insomnia, forgetfulness. Sorry, what was I saying? Forgetfulness, yes. Impaired concentration, attention spans are already low. And then you feel it in your body viscerally, but also your immune system takes a whack. And now your immune system is pretty weak. And of course, anxiety, depression, and anger, all of these things set in. You're tired. You have no more juice to be wrung out of that orange. And that's a situation which people find themselves in, and it's terrible for work.
Mhm.
Why? Because at work, you're not being paid to just show up at work for 12 hours. You get out of bed, you sit on your computer, and for 12 hours, you sit here, you go with. You're not being paid to be a human sitting in front of a computer, right? Your work involves having complex thoughts, solving complex problems, talking to colleagues and interacting with them and influencing them to do things, selling things to clients. All of that requires your presence and requires your energy. So if you have no more juice left in that orange, everyone notices and it shows up in your work. And how are you going to compensate? You put in the extra 2 hours. It's 14-hour days now because you think maybe a little more squeezing might help. It doesn't help. The problem is that you're beginning to get burnt out and you got to walk yourself back. And that's what we want to talk about in today's conversation. That's the real reason it's important for everyone who's working. You have to take care of your mental health. All right. But wearing your pajamas, sitting in front of a computer, it's crazy. I kind of look like this guy myself, frankly. Right? Wearing your pajamas by your cat and with your computer and your phone and your coffee and doing possibly a Zoom call. And I don't know, this guy looks really sorry. Right? This
He's
is
very
the
tired.
new normal. But it's neither new nor normal. Don't make this normal. This isn't the way we're supposed to work as humans. And as I'll show you, it's not new. Humans are designed to be hacked in these wrong ways, and you can unhack yourself. And that's the thing that we want to solve for today. That's the reason this is fun. Now, what's wrong with the workplace? Working from home isn't a bad deal. I remember there used to be posters that said work from home, ads on the internet, work from home, make money. Well, now everyone's working from home. How's that working out for you? Not so well, turns out.
Yeah, I feel like most people, I mean, with all this, the stuff that's going on in the community and just all over the world, when you're fatigued and when you're clouded, you're only able to see things on a micro level rather than on a macro level and be able to see what's really going on around you.
Yeah, yeah. So let's count down the ways in which things are broken. First, I'm going to bring you this quote. Just focus on the headline. Read the rest of the quote at leisure. It's a really good quote from Annie Dillard, who's a writer. How we spend our days is, of course, how we spend our lives. So, how is it that we spend our hours and our days? Well, we spend our hours and our days sitting in front of a computer, doing calls, feeling guilty that we're not at work and we didn't have to commute, we didn't have to go to office. So, I must put in that extra. And so we spend our days just like the sorry guy on the previous slide, which is just sitting in front of a computer, staring at it, and wondering what's going to happen next. So I'm going to talk about three things, three problems that you can solve today and reduce the amount of stress that you're carrying. Again, the chat window is open. Please go ahead and ask your questions and put in your chat comments right now. All right. The first thing is this famous song from the 80s is Rhythm is Gonna Get You, which is to say you're currently flatlining. If you look at the stack of windows, look at the windows right in front of the yellow line. What does that seem like? It seems like your daily schedule, does it not? You look at your calendar, it kind of looks the same. Block, 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 block. You just got meetings all day.
It does.
Back in the good old days before the pandemic, you would get out of your home. You would get up, get dressed, look nice, and then get out of your home and sit in the car, go to your office, commute, whatever, do your work, go out, meet your colleagues, have a few coffee breaks, lunch break, and then drive back. You had buffers in your schedule that allowed you to get in and out of things, right? So your schedule wasn't all packed like sardines in a tuna in a can, right? So the problem with being flatlining your schedule is it's not very different from those ER shows. If you flatline in your career or your schedule, you're probably dead, right? You have nothing new coming out because you're saturated. By 11 o'clock, right before this meeting that you came in on, you've probably checked out. You're done for the day because your brain's just gone out for a walk. So you got to learn to buffer your schedule, and having a packed schedule isn't helping you. And so you got to build a rhythm. The second thing is you got to learn to meditate. You can't be all in your head all the time. You have to intersperse your intense sessions of thinking and activity, cognitive activity, and alternate them with meditation. And I teach meditation. There's podcasts, and you could go to classes, pay thousands of dollars, but there's a lot of free stuff that's out there as well. Free bad stuff as well. So buyer beware. But learn to meditate. Learn to find peace and calm and tranquility in your workday. You can meditate in the morning. You can meditate in the midday. You can meditate in the evening. There's really no excuse to not learn to meditate or not pack it into your schedule. It's really important.
And when you talk about meditation, Gaurav, how does one meditate? Is it mind? Is it body? Is it soul? How does that work?
There's many different schools. You allow in some schools they give you a mantra, they give you something to repeat, and what it does is what you're trying to do is get past the thoughts. So people think that I'm this body, but then somebody will tell you, no, no, you're not this body. You're spiritual but not religious. You're also your thought. So then you think I'm my thoughts. No, you're something even behind that because you can alter your thoughts. What you're trying to do is calm your thoughts down and let them go away. Similar to how at Halloween, if you run out of candy, you just turn off the lights and the kids don't come anymore.
Hmm.
Don't feed the thoughts and the gremlins will go away. All right.
Agreed.
And so what you're trying to do with meditation is simply free yourself from the thoughts. And you could do that with a mantra, like I said. There are meditations that ask you to focus on your breath. There are meditations that ask you to walk. There are meditations like Qigong that ask you to move your body in a particular way. They're all great ways.
And I think some people don't realize they're actually meditating when we were driving to work. When you
Oh,
sit in the car and you turn on your music and you're singing and you're laughing along, whatever it may be, whether it's a podcast, whatever it is, you put yourself in a good mood, you free yourself of those thoughts, and endorphins start coming out.
absolutely. Now, if you've ever driven on I-5 and if you remember your driving license, they told you if you're on the freeway, you got to make sure that you're not trancing out. People trance out on the freeway and they'll essentially, because it's I-5, as you know, it's hundreds of miles of nothingness.
Yes.
And if you're not paying attention, you're probably just zoned out. Yes. So runners have that as well. So there are many ways to meditate, which is you're trying to go past the thoughts. But yogis like to sit. All right. So that's the next thing. The third thing is you got to have a soundtrack, not just rhythm is going to get you. You can pick other songs that work for you, but perk yourself up because soundtracks not just like harsh music, but good music. Just the way your mom would sing to you, hold you close to her heart, and sing to you, and that calmed you down. Right? That's what you want. You want to be calmed down. Songs that you can sing to allow you to calm yourself down. So that's really important and a good way to hack this out. Another exercise, you won't read this in a meditation book. You won't get too many yoga teachers and meditation gurus tell you. But here's a fun tip: drink a lot of water.
Drink a lot of water. Yes.
Drink a lot of
Everybody
water.
drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
So many.
What it does is, one, you got to drink water because it's good for you. You're hydrated.
Absolutely. And when
What happens on the other side is you got to take breaks.
very true.
You can't undo it.
One thing I want to add to the soundtrack that you're saying, a good way to make yourself in a positive mood from when you're waking up is listen to your favorite song when you wake up, do a little dance, get in a positive mood, and bring out that energy.
Yeah, get out of that funk. Yes. All right. So that's one. You gotta get a better rhythm. That's really important. Next up is go watch Money Heist. No, it's not that. Have you seen Money Heist?
I have.
You should. Okay. Have you seen all four of them?
No, not all four of them. I've seen.
Go back and watch it. The thing I want to talk about here, of course, is there's a lot of energy and money being put on outrage hacking that you need to be aware of, because you're the product of that. If you heard the term doom scrolling, what it is, it's simply this: you're reading some bad news, and then it serves you more bad news, and then you're reading more bad news, and then you keep more bad news, and 2 hours have elapsed, and you're filled with bad news.
You're sucked into a cycle of negativity.
Yeah, and then you watch one bad YouTube video, it shows you 10 others. You watch those, your feed is now all bad videos. What's going on is algorithms are really, really very efficient at figuring out what you like and giving you more of it because they want to serve you advertisements. The downside of that is now you let yourself be outrage hacked, because if you saw cute, fluffy puppies and that's your thing, great, it'll show you more fluffy puppies. Great. You should probably do that because that's happy stuff. But the opposite of that is doom scrolling. And a lot of people, because fear and anxiety are more intense emotions and more easily aroused than love. So what machines have learned is that they can make us angrier by outrage hacking us. So you have an outrage sandwich for breakfast, you have an outrage sandwich for lunch, you have an outrage sandwich for dinner and late evening. So people are outraging, and what happens with outrage is you get all this anger rising up.
Mm-hmm.
Your body is in fight or flight. There's nothing attacking you, but your body is reacting as if there's a lion chasing you in the savannah, right?
Absolutely.
And you've done it to yourself. That's
Yeah.
outrage hacking. The other is that's machines. The other is machinations. It's not just machines. Politicians, marketers, all these people know that you like this sort of stuff. So politicians will show you the worst news,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they're trying to manipulate you, right? Cute baby boy in a war zone, all hell is breaking loose. All these images are designed to trigger a certain response, and that response leads to empathy fatigue. You've seen those photos now so many times, you don't know what to do, and you've got used to sitting in your home, getting angry and feeling helpless, and that's the reason you're feeling fatigued, because you're not able to do anything about it. Don't do it. So you have to learn that the machines and machinations are working to outrage you. If you want to do something to make the world a better place, doom scrolling is not the way to do it. Getting yourself into a lather of inactivity is not a way of doing it. Don't do it.
And one thing I want to add to that is you guys are all in control of your feeds on social media platforms that we're on, regardless of what it is. Don't fill it up with negativity. Fill it up with fluffy dogs. Fill it up with good things that you want to see, like communities helping out other community members. Stuff like that, where you're able to have a positive outlook. If you're consumed by negativity from the moment you wake up and in the course that we're at, just naturally, when you turn on the news, when you go on any social media platform, it's like negativity after negativity. You have to break that chain.
Yeah. It's terrible. And you're right. You can control your feed. You can train the computers. They're training you, but you can train them right back by adjusting your feed or saying you don't want to see it in Google and Twitter. Hanita, what's your Instagram handle?
Hanita Chalabi.
All right, look up Hanita Chalabi on Instagram. Cute, fluffy puppies are promised.
They are.
All right. So going back to what we were saying, Don't be outrage hacked. Don't give in to that. Okay, next question. Do you believe in evolution?
I do.
All right, I got bad news for you. Monkeys. All right. All right. If we've descended from monkeys, we inherit this body, this mind, this system, this social system from our progenitors. True story. I went to an engineering college where there were these rhesus monkeys, which the ones you're seeing on the screen. These predated my engineering class by maybe about three human generations. They owned the building, and I'm pretty sure we were sure that they had done their PhDs in mechanical engineering and are highly sophisticated, but they spent all their day picking nits off each other.
They're SMEs.
Yeah, they're they're SMEs. So here's the thing: connection is core to us as a human, as a social species. The monkeys are grooming each other not just because they have nits. It's not just that. It's a really important part of social bonding and keeping track. They're good accountants, so they're keeping track of, hey, this one groomed me for 5 minutes, and this other person bared their canines at me the last time, probably not good. And this guy pulled my tail or whacked my baby or whatever. They keep track of this sort of stuff, right?
Mhm.
And they're really and so are we. We as a human have the same capability of connection and of keeping track of each other. But the problem with Zoom is that, one second, Jesus. Okay, the problem with Zoom is that it's not helping. What does that mean? With Zoom, when you're on Zoom or video calls all day, what you're getting is a very poor quality feed, right? The video is janky. There's delays in the sound, so you say things, and most of the times, most of us don't use video at all anymore. So how do you connect with each other? You don't know what they're thinking, you don't know what they're experiencing, you don't feel their physical presence. So
Mhm.
what happens? What happens is you just have a really harsh life experience. All day you're talking to imaginary colleagues, right?
Yes.
And you don't have the time to be nice to each other because you're packed, your business is packed, you're going from one meeting to another, and all you got is anger and business like things. You walk into a meeting and you're business like. And because you're business like in your meeting, what happens is you don't have the time for niceties. You don't have the time to ask how you're doing. And as a result of that, it creates really harsh work environment.
Agree.
And that lack of connection can lead to a lack of energy because we get energy from each other, right? Like we were saying in the prep, you were saying it, maybe you should say it about the energy you put out.
Yeah, as I mentioned to you, I think people need to be very mindful at the energy that they put out in their community and really in the world. Whatever energy you guys put out is what you're going to get back in. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity around you, you're not going to see your blessings. You're not going to see the good things that are happening around you. You take for granted what you have in front of you. And it's something that people just overlook just because of life problems, but it's something that you need to ground yourself back in and remind yourself that the energy you're putting out, put out positive vibes, put out, that happiness so that you get that back from the world. And people like to be around happy people at the end of the day, and they need that. They need the positivity.
Yeah, with that human connection and positivity. And what you said is absolutely right and brilliant, which is um, important to us because we want to feel loved, we want to feel connected, but we're not putting that vibe out. Right?
Hmm.
We're in a do not disturb, I got my headphones on vibe. Then you're worried that people don't respond to you.
Absolutely.
It's terrible. And so yeah. So to recap, if you're running out of energy, it's because one, you haven't got the energy back from your colleagues and your workplace because you're not setting yourself to have those conversations, and you should take time out. Don't pack your schedule. Go, pick nits off your colleague.
Yeah, and another thing is people assume that they always have to be in front of a computer to have meetings. Join on your phone. Go for a little 5-minute walk while you're talking to your colleagues during daily scrum. Have your stuff on your phone available so that you could talk about it. But you don't need to just sit inside a room or inside a house. Go outside, get air, see human beings, see the world around you so that you get that. You get the world's beauty coming in and you automatically will start feeling endorphins.
Yeah, also that. Yeah, and the I remember this really funny comic cartoon that I saw where in the future cows will be all udder or all meat and very small legs because that's how it'll be designed. We're not all brain, right? We're not just one brain with the rest of a bag of skin and bones. No, we're fully embodied, which means you got to work out.
Hmm.
You don't get energy and glucose to the brain if your body is withering away. Go out, get your walk, get the sunshine, go get some exercise. Very important to get energy in this. So first thing was, last thing we said was go talk to other people and spend time. Monkeys, by the way, spend more than a third of their time grooming each other, right? And in the workplace also, we spend about a third of our time looking for stuff on the computer, which is an older book, but another third of our time talking to each other and just exchanging vibes. The content of the conversation is nothing. It could be about how's your weekend. It's not about the content, it's the fact that you're trying to establish connection that is more important. So find
Absolutely.
ways to recreate that. The previous thing we said was don't let the machines outrage you. You can control the machines. Don't be outraged because you lose energy, and that's not good. And then the first thing we talked about was rhythm. Rhythm is going to get you. So make sure you build out a better rhythm.
Absolutely.
Uh,
With that said, I believe we have some questions that we have from the audience. Raul Sharma has asked, there is a misconception that meditation is spiritual or a religious practice. Can you please provide your input?
Sure. So meditation itself, the word comes from Marcus Aurelius's famous book called Meditation. Meditation in the Western context is really a meditation on a thought. In the Eastern tradition, which is Buddhism, Hinduism, and other Eastern religions, meditation. The word for meditation is dhyana, which you know as Zen, and so dhyana is a pre-religious practice. It's not a religious practice. Religions stem out of that, but it precedes that. So it's not a religious practice. You don't become a Hindu by learning to meditate, or you don't become a Buddhist. A lot of people say they're Buddhist because now they're meditating. No, no, that's not it. You have to do other things as well. But it's a pre-religious thing. So absolutely, just the way you could do yoga and not turn into a Hindu, you could do meditation and not become change your religion. You could be a better human being by doing all these practices, and that's the thing that matters.
And Garb, I have a question for you in regards to this. Some people, go to temples. Some people go to church. Some people have different ways of meditating. Uh, is that something that you've heard often people do?
Sure, yeah. The fun thing is there's a fun, really good professor of neurobiology in Stanford he's an acclaimed atheist, and he's a funny guy. But one of his lectures is really interesting because he says, much as I don't agree with the findings are that religious people are happier,
Hmm.
right? And the reason for that is, you remember I talked about harshness.
Yes.
Harshness is when when you remember those bad rides on bad country road where it's all wobbly and you're feeling bad. So your everyday life, or if you're exposed to the elements and you have extreme heat, extreme cold, that's harshness. And the purpose of religion and purpose of society is to give you an air conditioning, a very narrow band of experiences. You got extreme happiness, great. Throw a party, let other people enjoy the feast. You
Hmm.
got extreme sadness, 15 people will show up and cry with you, right?
Yes.
So your happiness and sadness are now contained in a narrower band. That's the function of a society. But Western society, we've come to this belief that, oh, religion is bad. Of course, religion is bad if you use it the wrong way. But its purpose is to provide this narrow band of very comfortable experience for everyone.
Agreed. Agreed. We'll go to the next question just so we could cover everyone. Neha asks, what if your mind wanders a lot and has a lot of thoughts? How do you quiet the mind?
How do you quiet the mind is a really important and tough question. You can't. My favorite GIF for this, it's called GIF, by the way, not GIF, is turkeys running around each other. It's three turkeys and they're chasing each other around a tree. Google it, it's on the internet. But the fun thing is, your thoughts chase each other. The worst thing you can do to quiet your thoughts is That's right. You don't send a fourth turkey behind the three turkeys that are chasing each other, because you know what's going to happen. The fourth turkey is going to join
What?
the scrum, and there are four turkeys now chasing each other, right?
Going in circles.
That's right. So you can't have thoughts chasing thoughts. You can't quiet your thoughts by chasing them around. Say, oh no, you can't be here. Sorry, you gotta leave. You gotta leave. No, 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 because then you only empower those SOBs. I
I,
didn't say that on your webinar. Sorry. So you
it's
can't feed your thoughts. The right way to meditate is to turn off your lights at Halloween, which is you don't feel those gremlins, don't feed those gremlins and they go away, right? If you feed the gremlins, they keep coming. It's what they do, right?
okay.
So don't feed your thoughts with your attention. How do you not feed your thoughts with attention? Well, direct your attention to something else. There's a mantra, there's an image of God, there's an image of a loved one, or there's a dream that you'd rather have. Have that dream, go for it. But stop feeding those gremlins and they'll go away, promise.
And one thing I'd like to add that for every negative thought you have, think of 3 blessings in your life that surround you and really try to get out of that. Try to get out of the perception of everything in my life is negative. I'm lost. I don't know what I'm doing. No, that's not the case. You're just tired.
Yeah.
You're tired of your own thoughts. Get some blessings in there. Think about everything that's around you that is going well for you, that has happened for you, that you've been wanting to do.
Yeah, was it Spyro Agnew or who was it who created that fantastic term called nattering nabobs of negativity? But don't feed the negative thoughts. And a lot of people think that negative thoughts have arrived into my brain. Now what do? I must feed them. I must take care of them. No, you don't. You're not owed. You don't owe anything to your negative thoughts. They can go wherever the heck they came from. So don't just separate yourself from your thoughts. Very important. Also, I want to tell people on the chat audience, this is not a social network. If you find a friend, there's no reason you should say hello to them here. All right.
We have another question I'd like to put from Mamita. She said, how to get rid of the guilt that you mentioned earlier, guilt that we didn't feel before, like driving time, grabbing coffee, or chatting with colleagues.
Yeah, people. This is a great question, by the way. Thank you for asking that. Guilt. We feel guilty if we're not putting in the time. That's because we think that we're being paid for our time. The reality is, even the guy being paid for their time, like a plumber or an electrician, is not being paid for their time, because then they just stay at your home all day. They're being paid for their expertise, right?
Yeah.
To solve problems and making the problem go away. So once you realize that your productivity, and I have a different webinar, you got to call me back. I talk about deep work. Your productivity in your good periods is probably 5 to 10 to 100 times your bad periods, right? And if you're giving your bad hours to me, it doesn't make any difference. It's really bad. Give me the good hours.
Absolutely.
Give me 1 good hour and then go do your 99 other hours or other things. Because if you're giving me 100 of your bad hours, it doesn't get me any productivity.
And work just never sleeps. In terms of, you'll never be where you want to be exactly. There's stuff always going on. New things still will come. You're always going to feel like you need to catch up. And that guilt will be there, but you need to remind yourself that you'll be more productive. If you don't have that, even if you put in those 5 hours instead of 14 hours, you might be more productive as a 5-hour person, giving your all at that time, because your mind is not clouded, it's clear. So you're able to perform at your optimal level.
Yeah. I do workshops on deep work. I've been doing them for 5 years. And it's amazing. Every time I do the workshop, it's 3 hours. And in that, there's a 90-minute work segment. So my instruction is go bring your work to this session. And invariably, at the end of those 90 minutes, I now expect it. People say, I got more done in 1.5 hours than I got done the entire previous week.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's the 1.5 good hours that you put in versus 40 hours of just being checked out. You flat-lined. There's nothing in there.
Absolutely. We'll go to our next question from Amit. He said, most of us who work in nights in India have a lot of issues with sleep. Does meditation help in getting good sleep? If yes, how can one start? Someone who is new to meditation.
Great. So does meditation help with sleep? Yes. Yes and no. Yes, it helps you calm down. And therefore, if you're stressed out, it reduces your stress levels. You can go to sleep and enjoy it more. No, because yogis are actually notoriously non-sleepers. So it turns out if you meditate a lot, your sleep evaporates, and then you just. Yeah. But that's for professional yogis, because if you meditate a lot, what you want to do is just cleanse your brain. Your brain's not dirty anymore, so it's already cleansed, so you don't need the sleep. But can it help you calm down? The answer is yes. And you could look up Yoga Nidra, Amit. And Yoga Nidra is, you don't go to sleep in Yoga Nidra, but it could be a good buffer between your workday and your home time.
Absolutely. Usually when we were driving to work, you had that buffer of getting away from, home problems or personal life issues. You'd go to work, your mind would be taken up with work thoughts, with work problems. So you were able to have that kind of break between your thoughts at that time.
Sure.
Now, the way things are going, we're mentioned constantly in front of the laptops and on video calls and so on and so forth, where you're not able to do that as much. It's kind of all entangled at this point.
Yeah, every day is July 24th. We're working 24/7.
We'll go to our next question from Abhishek. How do you create a mental barrier where you don't let stress affect your mind and your productivity?
That is a great question. So it depends on the cause of your stress. If your cause of your stress is your work, and that's affecting your productivity, it's a recursive thing. Basically, you stress about work, and that stress is reducing your productivity, and which now causes you to be more stressed out, and you know how that goes, right?
Yeah.
So the way to break out is, one, you got to have a hobby, because then it allows you to enjoy something, right? And that allows you to separate yourself from this work thing. So enjoy something. Two, don't identify directly with your work output. You're not all just your work. You're beyond, above, and far more than just your work. So allow yourself to recognize that even if your work may have failed, and everyone has failures. Tesla did, Edison did, Einstein did. Even the great people, everyone has had failures. The point is not having failures. The point is being able to jump back from that by saying that failure isn't me. That failure is just part of the process.
Mm-hmm.
So separating yourself from work is very important. And having a hobby, those are the things. Do something for somebody else. That's my favorite, because I have an institute teaching community service. Because we're saying if you do something for somebody else, you feel good about doing it. Not because somebody else said thank you, but just doing it. That feeling good doesn't just stay in that one aspect of your life. It illuminates the rest of your life. That fragrance smell travels all the way through your life.
Absolutely. Our last question for right now is from Gautam. He is asking, how do I prepare for meditation at work?
You got to have a schedule first, which we talked about the rhythm part. You got to have a rhythm. You have to do it at a certain time. All the time, you got to have a routine. Routines are really important. So build a routine where you sit, even if you're just sitting idly for half an hour. Just find time, 10 minutes. It doesn't matter. Or you're at a coffee break. I have, by the way, a few years ago I took it upon myself to take ancient 5,000-year-old practices and insert them into the workday. And so I have a podcast out there. You could look it up, Living Meditations. And there I have meditations for your commute. Don't do it when you're driving. It's for when you're in the bar, for God's sake. So I have a meditation for the morning coffee break, afternoon coffee break, evening when you get back from work, all sorts of schedule issues. Pick your favorite. They're 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I have a meditation for deep work, which is a 20-minute meditation. And I use the European Union anthem as the meditation.
Awesome.
It's a lot of fun stuff. Look it up.
Awesome. Yeah, we have a lot of people that are asking for that material that you had mentioned. So we will be sending links out to all that, whoever's interested. Just let us know in the chat. But thank you so much, Gaurav, for everything. I think this was such a refreshing topic with everything that was going on. And I think it, so helpful for everyone, including myself. Thank you again for coming.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me here, Anita. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And I hope you guys are all safe. Meditate, exercise, drink lots of water. Please follow us on social media so that you guys know when the next Tech Talk Tuesday is and Throughline Thursday. And we'll see you guys. Be safe. Bye-bye.